Call for Ethiopian Global Constitutional Convention by the Ethiopian Survival and Salvation Association. ESSA. June 12, 2023. The Ethiopian Survival and Salvation Association, a non-profit civil society organization of Ethiopians, is legally registered in America, has called on global Ethiopian civil societies to end the ethnic federalism of the fraudulent pseudo-constitution of TPLF/OLF from 1995 through a national referendum for a new constitution. We are announcing the first Ethiopian Global Constitutional Convention for National Dialogue tentatively on August 17, 18, 19, and August 20, 2023, in Washington, D.C. Vision. Ethiopia's vision is to be a welcoming country for humanity, anchored on God and His wisdom, embracing truth and justice, preserving knowledge and history, and promoting peace, human rights, and well-being for all. Mission. Our mission is to empower the Ethiopian people to remain the ultimate force in their land. We aim to achieve a constitution that secures power for the people, protects their greatest asset, the people themselves, and safeguards the nation's sovereignty and its wealth. Together, we can ensure a prosperous future for Ethiopia. Background. Ethiopia and its citizens are facing a dire situation characterized by a lack of peace, stability, democracy, a legitimate constitution, accountable government, and independent institutions. The government has become tyrannical and implemented policies that disenfranchise people's rights. The following points showcase the current situation in Ethiopia. An ethnic/tribalist-oriented fraudulent pseudo-constitution. An arbitrary governance system. Despite the country's rich natural resources including water, fertile soil, a good environment, and hard-working people, Ethiopians suffer from desperate poverty. Ethiopia lacks a comprehensive and strategic socio-economic development plan, including 5-year, 15-year, and at least 30-year plans, as well as specific work programs with adequate resources. People suffer from repeated internal conflicts, bloody civil wars, migration, high destruction atrocities, mass displacements, etc. Non-stop excessive corruption. Poor standards of education. Only 20% of the population lives in urban areas, while 80% live in rural areas. The current Ethiopian de facto government is burning Orthodox churches and demolishing mosques, inappropriately intervening in religious matters, and engaging in ethnic-centered demolitions of low-income and middle-income houses in the capital city of Addis Ababa. These actions have led to the displacement of at least 100,000 people internally, without any war or natural disaster, among other issues. In order to address the dire situation in Ethiopia, ESSA is calling for an Ethiopian Global Constitutional Convention. We believe that the root cause of all these crimes against citizens is the absence of a constitution that protects the people and the country. The convention would have the following objectives. Objectives. The goal is to elect 91 Ethiopians who have a proven track record of contributing to the well-being of Ethiopians and Ethiopia. These individuals must possess the knowledge, experience, talent, and willingness to assume responsibility for establishing a sovereign, independent institutional structure. They will also facilitate the establishment and voting for a referendum for a new constitution within 6 months. Once the referendum is voted on, the same team will be responsible for implementing the new constitution with the help of the UN and other peace-loving allies within 1 year. The road map. To reform Ethiopian democracy, we must first create a new constitution and hold a referendum to choose between it and the existing constitution. This will legally eliminate or replace the existing constitution with a new one that will protect the sovereignty and establish a red line that cannot be crossed by the government or any other entity. By creating lasting and independent institutional structures, we can establish boundaries between sovereignty and any entities we create. Sovereignty includes the Ethiopian people, the sovereign state of Ethiopia, the sovereign Ethiopian People's Constitution, which includes a team of 91 free and independent agents that ensure its supreme role in governing the country, and the Ethiopian sovereign flag, tricolor green, yellow, and red, with no emblem in the center of the flag. Created entity includes the government of Ethiopia, the current Ethiopian government lawmakers or parliaments, and political parties of any kind. The Ethiopian team of 91 free and independent agents is authorized to establish lasting independent institutions that protect the people, the nation, and the constitution. These institutions will be based on the new constitution, which will be voted on with a referendum. With the help of the UN and other peace-loving countries, institutions, and people, the team will ensure the effective implementation of the new constitution. The new Ethiopian democracy will establish independent institutions that demarcate the red line border. These institutions will be established by the Ethiopian team of 91 free and independent agents, who are directly elected nationally by the Ethiopian people, and they will be part of the sovereign new Ethiopian constitution structure. The Ethiopian team of 91 free and independent agents has full authority to control the responsibility and accountability of the government, limit its power, investigate government manipulation, audit its looting of the country's wealth, prevent election fraud, ensure term limits are not exceeded by authorities, including the Ethiopian president, and oversee the implementation of a new constitution after the national referendum. The Ethiopian team of 91 free and independent agents oversees the training of new independent law enforcement police officers across 14 provinces. This new independent law enforcement is supported by UN peacekeepers, AU, USA, EU, and other international organizations. The Ethiopian team of 91 free and independent agents will closely monitor the final presidential election in accordance with the new constitution's one person, one vote principle, with support from UN peacekeepers, AU, USA, EU, and other international organizations. The Ethiopian team of 91 free and independent agents constitutes Constitutional Court Judges, 15. Federal Court Judges, 7. Election Commission Agents, 15. Audit Commission Agents, 15. Civil Service Commission Agents, 15. Human Rights Commission Agents, 15. Military Agents, 3. Intelligence Agents, 3. Police Service Agent, 1. Media Service Agent, 1. Socioeconomic Development Commission Agent, 1. The total number of independent agents becomes 91. These independent agents have significant duties. Empower the Ethiopian divided civil society into a united social norm of solidarity. Promote human rights by working with international communities and the UN, AU, USA, and EU. Help the Ethiopian people to discuss the available new constitution drafts in the First Constitutional Convention and promulgate it to the Ethiopian people nationally and globally for further discussion before making a national referendum for a new constitution. This team of 91 free and independent agents closely monitors, with the help of UN peacekeeping, AU, USA, and EU, the new constitution implementation completion successfully. This team of 91 free and independent agents works closely with our longest and oldest ally USA, to make Ethiopia a democratic country. This team of 91 free and independent agents works closely with the UN Election Assistance Department, EAD, the Department of Political and Peacebuilding Affairs, DPPA, and United Nations Democracy Fund, UNDEF. This team of 91 free and independent agents encourages public participation in all Ethiopian community groups, reconciles and unites the Ethiopian people's ethnically divided communities abroad, brings into civilized and united Ethiopian society's solidarity, and advocates for all to participate in the democratic constitution making. This team of 91 free and independent agents closely monitors national referendums for a new constitution process standard and voting ballot stations throughout 14 Ethiopian provinces with the UN, AU, USA, and EU to prevent election fraud. This team of 91 free and independent agents closely monitor, with the help of UN peacekeeping, AU, USA, and EU, including other international communities, the Ethiopian first democratic free, fair presidential election, one person and one vote principle after provincial and federal independent police training completion. Transitional justice in Ethiopia. Finally, this team of 91 free and independent agents will establish transitional justice courts in all 14 provinces and one international transitional justice court in the Ethiopian capital, Addis Ababa, cooperating with UN peacekeeping, AU, USA, and EU. This team of 91 free and independent agents closely monitors, with the help of UN peacekeeping, AU, USA, and EU, other international communities, ethnic genocides on Ethiopians, the Amhara people, the Ghetto people, the Tigray people, the Gorage people, the Gamo people, etc. Ongoing and systematic massacres are being committed by ethnic profiling primarily on Amhara people, including the burning of Orthodox churches and mosques. please see the lists of massacres in Ethiopia. Through this referendum for a new constitution and independent agent system, the Ethiopian people can overcome the 32-year struggle to remove the fraudulent pseudo-constitution of TPLF/OLF from Ethiopia that was created in 1995. Ethiopian international and domestic transitional justice courts will prevail for sacrificed leaders and educators and innocent citizens' lives. For example, Professor Asrat Wolais, a top Ethiopian medical surgeon, Dr. Ambacho Mekonnen, Brigadier Generals Asamnotsij, Ser Mekonnen, and Gezaheg Nabra, as well as Simnu Bekele, the engineer of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, GERD, was murdered, and 17 university girls vanished since 2020 up to today. Pain and the unsolved mystery. These are just a few examples of the thousands imprisoned, killed, or murdered by Prime Minister Meles Zenawi and the current sitting government of Abiy Ahmed administrations. Expected outcomes. Justice for all. All criminals will face justice in international and domestic transitional courts in Ethiopia. The people will triumph, and all the horrific crimes committed by the Ethiopian government using the apartheid TPLF/OLF pseudo-constitution will be brought to justice. These crimes have had devastating humanitarian consequences, including the displacement of over 6 million citizens, nearly 2 million deaths, civil war, famine, childhood stunting, and malnutrition. The victims are from various ethnic groups such as Amhara, Tigray, Oromo, Barina, Ghetto, Afar, Somali, Gorage, Gamo, Wolayita, Sidama, and other tribes and ethnicities. Justice must be served for all citizens throughout Ethiopia where innocent lives are brutally taken. The system, which has caused horrific crimes against humanity by using the TPLF/OLF constitution, must be uprooted. Future generations will not repeat the same mistakes. The structure of the team of independent agents is significant for the tranquility of our future generations. This structure will become part of our sovereign constitution, which ensures that the power of the Ethiopian government is checked by the people or citizens. It will also protect the interests of the people by establishing the red line of our democracy between sovereignty and created entity borders. Sustainable success, achieving spiritual, inner self, and material fulfillment. Looking towards the future, it's important for the next generation, both within and outside of Ethiopia, to embrace uniqueness and diversity and use them to make a positive impact on the world, particularly in Ethiopia. By striving for spiritual, inner self, and material fulfillment, we can achieve peace and sustainable success, just as our forefathers did. This fulfillment will make it easier for us to give to others in need and, in turn, create a better world for all. Let's focus on our strengths and work towards a brighter future for ourselves and those around us. The Ethiopian Survival and Salvation Committee. Mekonnen Doyamo, the chairperson of ESSA. Contact doyamo1@gmail.com. Phone 612-702-2899.